Alright, fabricating a wedge. You're going to want a round about 4 arms length. Remove any knots on the lower quarter. And you're going to consider that round kind of like a square, and let you're removing material from the front and the back of that square in order to create and taper to a point your splitting end. You're also going to want to use a hardwood, more like a maple or oak or poplar, so that your wedge is at least as hard as what you're splitting. Okay, well, I've already lived this process once. Let's pick up the pace. Hold for dog. Okay. Okay, now that you've completed your splitting end, you're going to flip it over and chamfer the striking end in order to avoid any surface chipping. And let's do a little more time travel. Now that you've got your smaller round all wedgy, go grab the larger round you want to split. To get into this, you're probably going to want something a little larger than a hatchet and not quite as large as a splitting axe. Ye old 20-inch camp axe should do just fine. And now with your camp axe, you're going to want to detail a channel to the center of your round. Spin your round 180 and do the same coming from the other side. Now that you've created your channel, insert your wedge and whack-a-mole. Smack, 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 smack. There's 2 halves of our 4. Now that we've halved our round with our splitting wedge, there's no real need to continue with it. This is all pretty self-explanatory, so let's do the time warp again. So now you'll want to take all of your log and the quarters and place them back together as they once were, sort of reforming your round. What I like to do is I like to take some wedges that I've pre-cut and stick them inside because, well, you'll see. It's a little tricky. You got your paracord. Measure your diameter. There you go. Obviously in need of a knife. Cut off. And this isn't going to be much more useful than for this, as it's going to burn. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a Canadian jam knot. You can do this with an overhand slip in the end, but we're not going to reuse this at all. So tie a knot in one end, and then you tie an overhand knot 3 to 4 inches down. Pass your running end through and hope that you've correctly measured your diameter. Start at the bottom, underneath the wedges. This will get them nice and tight. That's why the wedges. That's why the wedges. as I say, the wedges do make this a little tricky. Cinch your Canadian gem knot up nice and tight. There you go. Let's make another for the upper portion of your round. Let's call it about there. Better to have a little too much than a little too little. Again, knot in the end, just an overhand knot, 3 to 4 inches down. Secondary knot, overhand as well. Go around the top. Let's see, this one may not have worked out too well, but you can sort of fashion your secondary loose overhand knot just by pushing it down, messing with your cordage. Come around your diameter. Hope that was enough. And make it nice and tight. There you go. There's the beginning of your Swedish torch. Pleats in. Starting the quarter way up, working down past that though. In some cases you may want to use a little more paper if available. Okay. Okay. Take some of this. It's a little bit damp, but it shouldn't matter so much. Put it on the outskirts of your ignition point. Just let it dry out a bit. And there you go. That will burn for a few hours. Swedish torch. Got the airflow going through the center, feeding the fire, and we burn from the core inside out.